What's poppin', everybody? Hello and welcome to Popcorn Culture. My name is Ben Carlin and I am your host. Here with me today is my brother Jay, who will be in every episode.
That's me. I'm still here. Hey, I'm still here.
You're still here. You're still my guest.
I have agreed to come on the show yet again.
I do appreciate it. Thank you for carving some time out of what I know is your very busy schedule.
I am busy, Ben.
You've got a lot going on all the time, it seems
no
like.
Doubt. There's no. Do you know that this morning, it's picture day for Luke, and so I was trying to get him dressed for school, and we have like new clothes for him to wear and stuff, and I was like already completely fully dressed, and he was like, he wanted to wear these like jeans, but he's like, I was like, no, you can wear jeans like these. I have jeans like these. I was wearing them yesterday. He's like, but you're not wearing them now. And then I proceeded to because it was like 8:55, and Luke needed to be waiting in line in the car to get in the school 5 minutes ago.
Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah.
We gotta go. So I'm like, all right. And I proceeded to go change my entire outfit so that I was wearing clothes similar to what he was wearing so that he would feel more comfortable putting the clothes on.
Oh my goodness gracious.
This is the kind of busy things that happen in my house in the mornings. So
That's a big one.
Yeah.
And it's like, these are things that I feel like when you become a parent, it's very hard to predict how these types of things might go.
Yeah.
Like I think you can probably anticipate all the classics, like, diapers and coloring on the walls and the inevitable, cuts and scrapes and bruises and sicknesses and stuff. But picture day needing to change clothes in order to better coordinate with your child so they feel more comfortable in their own skin is one that I have to tell you,
didn't see that one coming.
I did not necessarily. I couldn't have predicted it on the onset.
Yeah.
But here we are. Do you think that school pictures, like growing up, I remember school pictures were like really, it felt like, and maybe this is like one of those things where like even Luke will perceive them as like a particularly like big deal, but like picture day always felt like a big day.
Yeah.
Like this is like important, and in so many ways it's like it's how I would have gone back and sort of like shown, like mom and dad when we were growing up on the fridge, they would get like the little wallet sized photos, and they would have like you and me and Tyler, and as we would go through like each year, they would get like a new, like a little acrylic magnet thing.
Yep.
Put like the new picture up, and so like at all times you could sort of see.
Yeah,
this
like
is
our entire progression, like a little timeline.
Yeah, like a little timeline, which was really kind of like fun and cool. And it was like as far as I knew, and obviously this wasn't even really truly the case for us, because our dad was like, Johnny video camera, and like basically was documenting like he was
all the stuff.
I do not feel like anybody has ever given dad the proper credit for the fact that he was vlogging in 1994.
Yeah, like effectively.
Like he was literally like shooting things with the intention of editing it together, with the intention of having like a finished product that sort of told the story of something.
Yeah.
Which is really remarkable, and I'm just proud of you, Dad. Shout out. But on the whole, I still felt like picture day photos were these they were such significant markers of who you were every year of your life.
Yeah.
It's like you can watch yourself grow through these stages of like losing teeth, or like your hair growing out.
Your hair grew out. Yeah, like you grew 6 inches this year. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So it's like there's like all of these like touchstones you can kind of go back to, or even like little things like what was like the fashion like or whatever, which I feel like we talk about all the time now. All of a sudden, we're kind of like a quasi-fashion podcast.
Yeah, we basically probably should relist ourselves as a fashion podcast.
I think so.
Instead, I think we are presently listed as an after show.
We
like,
are,
like up there with like Bachelor recap or Survivor recap stuff.
Yeah,
which is always really funny, because if you go and look on the charts for where like for TV after show shows, it's like everything else is literally an actual after show, and then there's popcorn culture, there's you and me smiling up, and it's like, what show do they talk about? And it's like, no, and they don't
really talk about
they just didn't have a category for us, so this was like the sort of best fit, but clearly we should just be in fashion / tangential stories / camping / parenting. I don't know why that doesn't exist.
I know, it's really unusual. It's real. I mean, this happens all the time with the particular career that we're in. I'm going to come back to picture day, but this happens all the time in the particular career that we're in. Like even doing like taxes as a business, you know, it's like you'll be like filling out your forms or whatever, and it's like, what type of industry are you in? It's like, are you an accountant? Are you a construction worker? And I'm like, wouldn't that be simple?
Yeah,
like, you know, like
I can
like
just check this box.
Yeah, the box literally says exactly what I tell people. Like, you know, YouTuber is not a box.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, are you in the media? It's like, I'm not really in the media. You know, what we do is, it's like, are you marketing? And it's like, we're not really
like,
marketing.
Not, you know, but like we have to do a lot of marketing. But I don't like do marketing for other companies, and it's like it's more like a vital part of what we do.
Then like, who's your client then? It's like, and what do they pay you? It's like, well, they don't really pay us anything.
Like we post videos on YouTube, but we don't work for YouTube, and we make our
yeah, that's another one. Yeah, because it's like, oh, you work for YouTube, and it's like no, that's not it either. it's like
we have our own company.
Yeah, none of it. It's like it's funny to be in like an industry that like you're ahead of the available proper tax code.
Yeah,
you know, for this particular thing.
This is what's going to happen is eventually, like 30 years from now, the IRS is going to be like, okay, well, maybe we should list like influencer or something on here.
They will not do it until it's like already like ceased to
dead.
Be a thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
it's like
they'll eventually catch up, and then everyone will have like people will go to check that box, and everyone's going to have like imposter syndrome, and they'll just be like, well, I mean, I don't know if I'm actually influential though, you know.
What does it mean to
influence? Like I make videos online, but like, do people watch? This feels like a lot. Feels like I'm putting on paper with the government that I'm an influential person, and I don't feel like that's true.
I know. I when it comes to stuff like this, I just want it to be someone else's responsibility to like come in, assess my situation, and be like, I have decided forever and for always, with the stamp of approval from the Internal Revenue Service, that you are this. Boom, rubber stamp, done.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay, good. Janet told me that this is what we are, and Janet can't possibly be wrong. It's like oh man, with all these things, I'm sure that do other countries have to file their own taxes?
No,
or is it just us?
It's Ben, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. Other countries basically just send you a bill, and it's like, here's your taxes, and you're like, oh, okay, here's the money. You're welcome, government. And here they're like, well, you figure it all out, and we'll tell you if you were right, and if you're not, trouble.
Trouble, like big trouble.
Like guess what? You're gonna owe us more money. It's like, but you know I'm wrong because you know the amount.
Yeah.
So why don't you just tell me the amount? And then I don't mind paying the taxes. I just want it to be easy, man.
Yeah, that's so true. It's like, it's really, when it comes down to taxes, for me, it's like, it's not the paying of them that bothers me. It's like, I understand completely why we need
society.
Right. Yeah. It's like we have roads, we have government services, like these things exist. I know they're there. I've relied on them before. Like, you know, every day of my life, I rely on these things. And it's like, that is all good and fine. What scares me is the fear of just like doing it incorrectly.
I know.
And I have absolutely no idea. We've talked about this before, but like our mom being like a CPA, I don't know if it's like one of these things where like most people just don't fear it as much as I do, or maybe they do. But it's just like, I feel like I'm just like under a spotlight all the time. Like as if it's even worse if we get it wrong.
I feel like everyone's just guessing is my basic take on it. And like everyone at some point has like figured out what the steps they need to take each year to make sure that they are like safe. Like we were driving past, we were driving like way out, in like Vinton one day. I think we were driving to go see like our brother. Me and Beth were, and she just pointed at some like tiny little shack building. I think it was like part of like a former shopping center or something. And he's like, that's where my dad takes his taxes to get done. And I was like, right there? He's like, yeah, like that place. And like, I was just like, it just looks so tiny. And so like like it's just been, I don't know, like it doesn't look like this big enterprising place or something. I was like, I wonder how he landed on that. But I can tell you, I don't even have to ask. Here's how. Once upon a time, he took them there and everything was okay. And it was like, okay, I'm sold.
This is what I will do.
I will do it
for the rest of my life.
Right. If I moved to California, I'd still take it to this spot.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
that's
I mean, it's out of state. It's probably a different situation or something, but
I'm sure they can handle it.
yeah,
They've been there for a long time.
People in Vinton, Virginia are familiar with California state tax law.
I'm not even sure people in California are familiar with California state tax law.
I'm very, yeah, that's, yeah. Okay. Anyway, picture day.
Picture day. Let's talk about that for a second.
Talk about that.
Okay. Do you remember, there was something that happened when we were kids, and I always thought this was like one of the funniest things ever. And to this day, I actually don't even know if it was intentional when it first happened, or if it was like a happy accident that then we took the ball and ran with.
Okay.
But I think I want to say it was like second or third grade, probably somewhere in that zip code.
Yes, I know exactly what you're going to say.
Yeah, and so there was like of course, like this was the other kind of fun thing about it, is that like you obviously you had lived longer than Tyler and I had, and so you had more pictures on the fridge because mom and dad loved you more. And I'm just kidding, because you lived longer.
Because I had more pictures.
Because you'd lived longer.
Yeah.
Show off.
Yeah.
Golden boy.
Still lived longer.
That's true. I'll catch you one of these days.
That would be really sad.
That would be extremely sad.
Yeah.
I do not want to. I don't want to catch you. No, where am I going with this though? So anyway, you took your photo, and then when I got to second or third grade, I had like your hand-me-downs, and as a result, it just happened to be the case that on picture day, mom must have been like, "Hey, you know what shirt's really great for picture day? This one." And in the same year, we both had the same color backdrop, which was green, and we wore the same shirt. And so it ended up being this thing that, like, Jay's third grade picture, my third grade picture, same t-shirt, or same, like, whatever, like button down shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
And then as a result, by the time Tyler got there, it was at this
doing
point,
it on purpose.
Absolutely on purpose. But he also wore the same shirt to picture day in third grade. And so now we have this, like, it's just so fun to see, like, how we're literally wearing the same piece of fabric.
Yeah.
how same and different we are inside of this like space of our third grade years.
Yeah, that's kind of funny.
It is kind of funny. Yep. So, but the other thing that's always interesting about it to me as well is that now, as we've gotten older, it's kind of been fun and interesting to see like how all of our friends and stuff now have kids who are going to school and have had years of picture day. And so like today, Luke is making a picture that like in a couple of weeks when you guys get them, it will be like such like a momentous and like cool thing.
Yeah.
But in what I'm sure will feel like such a brief period of time, you will be looking back on these photos and be like, oh, remember when?
Yeah. Yeah. We have one of his school pictures from last year, and I absolutely love it. It's just like on our fridge. And
nice.
So then Nick and Nate got their first round of school pictures this year as well, earlier this week. And they actually did a cool thing where the preschool, like if they, if you have multiple kids there, then they will years apart or whatever, then they'll go get the siblings and also take like a group photo of them as well.
No way. That's super special.
Yeah. So we cashed in on that big because of course we have Nick and Nate who were in the same year, and then they went and got Luke from upstairs and brought him down. So I'm very excited to see what they're like, what the picture of the three of them looks like. Cause like, this was one of those things we told Luke about, and he was just like, I don't want to go take a picture with them. And it was like, I feel like if we just hadn't even told him and they were just like, Luke, guess what? You get to go take a picture. He'd have been like, what?
Neat.
So I'm hoping he cooperated at school with the picture. And it's such a weird thing, because we'll just be sitting like at the table or just like completely unprompted, and he'll just say like, I just love school, or like he'll ask if he has to go the next day, and like I'm so trained to be like, yeah, you have to go the next day, and it'll be like, yes, you do have to go to school tomorrow, and he'll be like, yes, I love school, and it's like he can tell he's excited and he really enjoys going, but then like also in the morning the act of like getting ready to go is still like, I don't want to get ready to go. I want to be there. I don't want to have to get ready to go.
Oh,
like,
interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're just like, what is like the Pavlov's, like, dogs, like sort of like the bell and the food and like the salivating or whatever. I wonder if that's really what happens with school, is that it's like we all actually secretly love being there and going and learning and doing all the stuff, but we're all just conditioned to wake up early and just be like grumpy.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to do this.
Right.
And so then after like years of it, you settle into like the demeanor that it's like, this is not a good thing. And then
yeah, like what if school was actually from like 10 a.m. to like 6 p.m.?
Would it make a difference?
Yeah, would it make a difference?
Like,
you just like wake up, you just got there at a regular time, same exact day, just later.
Just later, yeah. Would that make all the difference in the world?
I don't know. It feels like you'd have less time to do homework, or you'd probably end up just waking up early to do homework, which would then be stressful as well. Also, I feel like what would make school so much better is way less homework.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Like the high school that we went to now, like when we were in school, we had like 8 periods a day.
Yeah.
And one of those was lunch, I guess. So 7 classes that you would take and then like a lunch period. And the thing that was always so difficult about that is like everybody had different electives, different like tiers of, are you taking like AP, calc versus like pre-calculus or something like that. Like people progress at different speeds and stuff. And so like the teachers try as they might to like coordinate so that you don't end up like all having like a test on the same day or taking like a language, a foreign language, for example. It's like, oh yeah, Spanish 4 students have a huge exam on Friday. So like the pre-calc teachers try not to like have that land on the same day. But then that means if it's on Monday, then those people taking like German 3, they have a huge exam that day.
Right.
So it's like, it was so difficult for anybody to ever like, I don't know. But then if you had like 3 exams on one day, it's like, I'm just going to not do as well on one of these because I can't study for 3.
It's so much.
But now they do like block scheduling. So they have like,
4
like
classes
4
a day.
classes a day.
Yeah.
But that has always seemed so much better to me because you could have like a lecture and then you could have like homework. But like the homework can literally be like, I lectured, now practice for 45 minutes.
Right. And it's like, and if you don't like, you'll turn this in tomorrow. So just do it now while you're here.
And you also still have like the teacher who can come over and help.
Come and instruct and help you. Yeah. It was just like, it just seems so much better. This is like, guy, you mentioned like learning a language and stuff. I remember seeing like some tweet about like high school one time where they were comparing their like teenager to like their adult life, where it's like, wouldn't it be wild if like, because like right now as we're recording this, it's about noon. So like, wouldn't it be wild if like by this point today, you had already like been outside playing kickball, practiced another language, and learned like pre-calculus?
Yeah.
Right?
You're right. That's
It's
true.
like, isn't that is wild. Can you imagine if that was your morning already?
Like, it's so true. I've already spent an hour today on practicing my Spanish. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so true.
Yeah. It's like
you're trying to pack so much information.
Yeah. It's like, that's so much stuff. But also it's like, when I think about that, that sounds really appealing to me. Like now as a 34-year-old, like what a wonderful morning of learning that sounds like.
I know,
but like in school, it's like everyone is like forced to take a language, but I don't feel like anyone is like interested in speaking Spanish. It's like you have to take a language because you're required to learn the basics of another language, not because like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to start learning Spanish so I can communicate with like a huge portion of the world.
Yes. Yeah. I think you're phrasing just for clarity. I don't think that you're saying that like nobody wants to learn Spanish. It's just like when you're in your classes and this is like being like put forth in front of you, it's not like your raw enthusiasm to seek out a new language.
Yeah.
It's so much more this like, it's like something you have to do.
Yes.
And therefore I just don't think that it ends up being as effective as someone who is actually like, I want to go and learn multiple languages so that I can travel the world and know people and
exactly.
And so it's like now I feel like I would, and I mean we've talked about this too, but you go back to like your college years and every once in a while you'd have like that student in your class who had like graduated high school, maybe went out into the workforce, and is now like in their later 20s, early 30s, something like that. And they've like finally reached the stage where they're like, okay, I'm going to go back and get like a college education. And they were just always far and away the best students by like a mile.
Right. Because, they are like, they have specifically chosen later in their adult life to come here and spend their time and money on this because they are very interested in exactly this subject. It's not just like, I had to take another gen ed, so here I am.
I know, yeah. So it's like, now I'm taking anthropology because, which is actually, this has been something that I've looked back on. Is I remember taking anthropology in college as a class, and I remember like just absolutely dreading it, and I could never figure out why, because like the teacher was like super great. She was like one of these like professors who had actually gone out into the field and like done a whole bunch of stuff, and so she had like all these like personal experiences, prescribed like really good like reading material about people who like went to like live with like specific tribes and sort of like how they were able to like rebuild language and stuff. And I have thought like so much since we've been doing this podcast how much I absolutely enjoy the topic of like anthropology as like a topic of like just discussion that I find myself gravitating towards all the time. And it's like, apparently, unbeknownst to myself, I absolutely love this topic, but when I took it, I did not want to be there at all.
Right.
And it's like, man, if only I had known like 10 years ago, I would have probably like, what if I'd shifted gears and approached the whole thing differently?
Right.
It's like maybe I would have just like, maybe I'd be out there right now in the field. Anthropizing.
Yeah.
Probably. The study of humans, populations. How do we do things? Why do we do things?
Yep.
These are the questions.
These are the questions, Ben. Speaking of why do we do things, that is going to bring me to back to our hiking trip.
Oh, hey. Okay.
From last week. Boom.
I like
segue.
Wow. A beautiful transition.
So yes, I wanted to bring this up because it is. I feel like I have made a creation that people don't like, and we talked about it a little bit. I think in the after show last week, or maybe during the live Q&A, but I don't think on the main episode.
Okay.
So, yesterday on Twitter, I was scrolling and I saw someone named Sungwon Cho, who looks like they're a voice actor, say, "Hey Twitter, reply to this tweet with weird food combinations that you legitimately enjoy. Bonus points if it's something that doesn't require a lot of prep/cooking. I'll be trying some of them on a charity stream." And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I saw this. I have the exact item that I'm going to post.
Oh yeah. I feel like I already know exactly where you're going with this too.
Okay, yes. So, I responded to it with a picture that I sent you and Mike and John before our hike of some food that I was bringing on the hike.
Yes.
The food is this. It is a tortilla covered in peanut butter, topped with pepperonis, and then you roll all of that around a stick of string cheese.
Yep.
And
it's like a really weird pizza roll up that has inexplicably peanut butter on it.
Peanut butter, pepperoni, pizza roll up.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I have this hilarious picture of it though, like unrolled up. So you just see the string cheese like laying across the pepperonis. Now the backstory for this particular food item is way back in college, in my freshman year, which is actually at Radford. There was a program there called Are You Outdoors? And one of the things they did was go on these like rock climbing trips.
Yes.
And so I remember I was like, ooh, this sounds really cool. Like, this would probably be a good way to meet people. I don't know. I just signed up for it. I was like, I'm pretty much going by myself, but hopefully I'll meet cool people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it was a really fun trip. And like, we went out and did that. We were like, there was a group of people, pretty much everyone, it seemed like went just by themselves. And, everyone kind of got to know each other. We did rock climbing. It was fun. So when there was another one coming up, I was like, I'm going to go on another one. And the next one was an overnight trip.
Ooh.
A little bit trickier, right? So you could like rent tents and stuff and whatever. It wasn't like a big deal. But so you're sitting there around the campfire the night before you're going to go camping. And I guess they're like, I don't know, quote unquote initiation, or like if this is your first overnight trip with Are You Outdoors, then what they make you do is they have an everything bagel, and you have to put some food from everybody. Like everyone brought their own food, but everyone has to contribute some of their food to go on the bagel and then like eat it.
Okay.
Like, so it's just got like, who knows what it's going to be, right?
So it's like an everything bagel.
It's like an everything bagel.
Honestly, not clever. I got it. That's like a pretty neat like initiation.
Yeah. So it was just like, whatever. I like everything bagels. I'm a bagel person. So they go through, and I think like when it comes down to it, it's like, everyone just has like kind of camping food. So basically, I think what was on the bagel I had to eat at the end of it was like peanut butter and like, some slices of, sausage and some cheese, and I think maybe some like jelly or something.
Okay.
And I remember just being like, oh, well, whatever. And I ate it and thought like, you know what? It really actually was not that bad.
Interesting.
Like, it sounds like, oh, peanut butter and like sausage, like, but it really was not.
Okay.
And so I remember, I've always remembered that. And like, even going forward in college, sometimes like in the morning, I'd get a bagel, and if it didn't have cream cheese, I'd just get peanut butter and I would just put it on there and whatever. It was very good.
Yeah.
I would enjoy it. So anyway, leading up to our hike, I was looking at all these different camping foods, and I saw someone put this exact thing as like a food item they frequently brought backpacking. And I was like, oh man, pepperoni peanut butter. Yes, I haven't had that since college. I was like, this is such a slam dunk. And it really is a good backpacking food, at least like calorie wise, because it is basically nothing but like carbs and fat and calories.
Yeah.
And
that was really the thing. Like when I saw it, I was like, I mean, you're not wrong. It's like, you've got the cheese, the meat, the peanut butter, and the tortilla, like all of which are just like super calorically like dense material.
Yeah.
So it's like, not to mention, I even like held the bag, I think at one point in time, that had your 3 roll-ups in it.
Yeah.
And like, when you're looking at it, it's almost like, it doesn't look like much.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is heavy.
It's dense.
Yeah.
It was dense. And it's like you're burning calories nonstop out there. So like calorie wise, it's really good. The obvious problem most people have getting to it is the combination of the peanut butter, I think, and the pepperoni.
Yeah, absolutely.
Specifically, they can't get over that hurdle. Like I can see the benefits. I can't get over putting it in my mouth.
Well, even that though, because I was like, my mind immediately sort of went through like a little bit of mental gymnastics, because I was like, you sort of need like that like air quotes sauce, element to this particular item. And I was like, you were so close otherwise to just like pizza.
Right.
But
like if you just swap the peanut butter for like marinara sauce, you're basically at pizza, uncooked pizza.
Uncooked, yeah. And so I was like, that is kind of like really funny, because it's like, that's exactly, it's like a deconstructed pizza basically, or a somehow reconstructed or reimagined pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, so I do think my brain was sort of like, well, what could you use instead of peanut butter? It's like, peanut butter actually is not like it makes sense why that is what you would use, because you can spread it and it will still be good. It will still sort of like hold its shape.
Yeah.
Like it
sticks the wrap together.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like the glue of the sandwich or whatever. So I'm like, okay. I can, like, you obviously couldn't use like something that would immediately go bad.
Yeah.
Somehow ketchup seems like it's closer to marinara, and
that
also seems like it'd be
somehow
worse.
seems worse.
It does. Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking about that. I'm like, no, even though that's so close to just like tomato sauce.
I know.
Anyway, but so yeah, I responded to the tweet because I was like, this is perfect. It requires so little prep. It is a very unusual thing, and so I don't know who Sungwon Cho is. I've never watched any of their content ever, but I really, really hope that this item ends up on their stream, because I posted it and I've gotten nothing but absolute hate in the responses. Like, I clearly understood the assignment, I think.
Oh yeah.
It's
like you've definitely found the thing that everybody was like, nope, that can't be it.
Yep. There's people that's like, there's so many gifs. There's a picture of you and it says like, I don't like it next to it.
Oh,
it
that's
must
awesome.
be from Riley. Some people said, it's the responses have been hilarious. It's like I have really offended people's better sensibilities with the peanut butter pepperoni cheese roll up. So anyway, the reason I did it was for calories, and I think everyone should try it. I think you're all jumping to some conclusions, and it's better than you think.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that it's one of those things. But like, there's also something to be said for like, I don't know, like the difference about how you are approaching your food when you are on the trail, when you're so very aware of the fact that like you are going to be just absolutely like annihilating the food that you put into your mouth. Like all of a sudden it becomes very obvious very quickly that like there's a difference between having like a lunch in the office, you know, where otherwise you're just kind of like stagnant throughout the day. And, you know, it's like, this is fine. This is like, I am eating because I am like hungry, and this will hold me over until like my next meal of the day, which will be this evening, where I will again be hungry and therefore eat something. This is like everything you eat, you have to carry. And it means that if you have to carry it, it's like nothing can be extra. And then you're just like, and at the same rate, like I am carrying, you know, 30 to 40 pounds of weight on my back going up the side of a mountain in semi-hot weather. Yeah. You know, it's like, you got to put all this material back. And like each piece, that everything you consume just has to be as efficient as it can be. Yeah. And that is where I just think it got so interesting. Yeah. Cause it's like, it changes the format of the game a lot to where it's like, maybe I don't really care so much about it being like my number one first choice of food, but it's like, it's a very effective kind of food.
Right. Yeah. It's like it's not that like food is so abundant that you can just make food in a regular enjoyable experience, that this is like, I need food, but I'm going to go several extra miles to make sure it is really, really flavorful. It's like what you really need is, because you're literally walking so many miles, just pure energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of your food.
Yeah. Even before we got onto the call in here, or not the call, the came in to record the pop, we were talking a little bit about this exact thing, and I was talking about how I learned very quickly that like on the trail, like if we dropped like a gummy bear on the ground, that like I was like, I'm still probably just going to eat that gummy bear. Like, you know, it's like I'm not terribly concerned about the fact that like it has some visible dirt on it. It's like I'm kind of just like in a way that I wouldn't be, you know, if you were like on a city street. It's like I'd be like much more concerned about what might be on the ground in a city street than I am like just dirt.
Hey man, dirt don't hurt.
Precisely.
Exactly.
Probably most of the time.
We grow all of our food in dirt, Ben.
This is a good point. Right? Anyway, though, Ed O'Reilly was like, you guys had gummy bears on the trail? And I feel like I could even... It was funny because I was like, again, mental gymnastics, I was like, I can see all of a sudden where this felt very obvious, I think, to me, like me and you and Mike and John all had some measure of like a sugary, gummy, won't melt in your pack piece of candy. Yeah. And it was like I had mine like in my hip pouches, and it was kind of like, you know, you would walk and like we would like pause for like a water break or something, and I would like, you know, drink some of my water, and I would like literally eat like 3 Sour Patch Kids, you know, and it was like, I was like, for sustenance, you know, like, I mean, for all I know, it was such a small amount, or maybe like an excessive amount of sugar or whatever, given the circumstances, but it always felt like a nice, like, pick me up. And I was like, that's not the worst.
No, it's not the worst. I mean, it's just sugar. It's just energy. I always remember there was an episode of Good Eats with Alton Brown where he was talking, I think it was about donuts or something, or I don't know if it was specifically about that, but he holds up a donut at one point because he's trying to explain like the chemistry of like carbs and stuff. And he's like, look, this is like not good for you, but only because you're not moving nearly as much as the energy that is packed into this donut would require you to eat. Like, this is great if you're going to go run 10 miles, but if you're just going to eat it and then sit down, it's bad.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, that's kind of trail rules. It's like, yeah, candy is it's just constant tiny little blips of energy because you are immediately converting it that way.
Oh my gosh. Well, and this is a kind of like a funny one for me too, because I feel like typically the harder that I am like exercising, then it also almost seems to like simultaneously coincide with maybe like the worse that I'm eating. So like I for one am an exceptionally slow eater. Yeah. I tend, and this was true like when we were kids, like mom would like, you know, like have made dinner, we would like the whole family would eat or whatever, and like, you know, you and Tyler would be off like doing whatever, and like mom might be like tidying the kitchen back up or something, and I would still be sitting there like eating my tacos, you know, like just by myself at the table, like, right. And it wasn't like I was done, it wasn't that like whatever, I was just like slowly eating my food. And so this has always been, I feel like this has always been true about me, and for better or for worse. But when we were getting like really into like mountain biking a couple of years ago, I found that like I was getting out on the trails, and same thing as like our backpacking trip, it was like I was using everything my body had and then some.
Right.
Like to the point where like I think I was like almost reaching like they call it like a bonk. You know, like that's where you just like completely run out of energy entirely. And so what I started doing beforehand is I would drive past a McDonald's on my way out to the trail, and I would buy like 3 sausage biscuits. And while we were driving, I would just be like, how many of these can I eat by the time I get there?
Right.
Like 20 minutes from now. And it was like my goal, my objective was to eat all 3.
Yeah.
You know, it was like that is best case scenario, because I also know that like once I'm out there, it's like I'm just going to tear through these things.
Gotta go.
And yeah, so I always thought it was funny though, because it was like the thing that was probably marking me as like being healthy was like the physical activity, the getting up early, you know, you're out in like the cold, fresh air with your friends, biking for, you know, several hours or whatever. But I was also accompanying it with just like the worst food I would eat that entire week.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of funny how that works out. It's like, I remember when, I remember it's still active. It's like when, but like specifically like when we started like going to the gym and like weightlifting and stuff, it was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm getting so in shape. I'm feeling like really healthy. But then it's also just like, you'd think like, oh, I'm burning so much, like I must be like, you know, like losing fat or losing weight or something, or, you know, I'll look different. But it's like, what you don't realize is that, yes, you are like certainly building muscle, but what's going to happen is that you're using all that energy and now you're just really hungry all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so then you just eat more and then it feels like it balances out a little bit.
Right. This is like one of those kind of maybe it's another piece of like juxtaposition between a characteristic and your perception of a person. But like you're a classic like gym bro type like human.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they probably know more about the science of food than like I know about the science of like aquariums, because like that is like their whole focus in life. Like everything that they're doing revolves around like the exact optimization that we're talking about for like trail food. It's like they're like waking up earlier so that they can like eat a meal at the appropriate time relative to their workout, so they'll also be hungry again to get enough food down at their second meal of the day. Like everything is like aggressively like coordinated. It's like those guys who are like out there that like you see, it's like you might have like your feelings about like that like approach to life or whatever,
right?
But it's also like they're meticulously like
it's no accident.
Exactly. It's like this is their hobby in a way that is like a lot deeper than
you think.
Yeah. Which is
like, I've heard people say like sometimes like, oh, I don't want to lift weights because I don't want to get like too bulky, and I'm like, yeah, don't worry about that. You're not gonna get huge on accident.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like that's you might get like you probably get like healthy.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like I don't think that you will not accidentally have the problem, which is most people's like primary goal.
Yeah.
And if you do have such, you know, predisposition or genetics or whatever to it, it's like honestly you might have something there.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know, man.
If anything, chase it, because that's
go
great,
for it
for its own reasons.
Yeah.
Anyway, shifting gears though from weightlifting to something maybe a little more popcorn culture adjacent. We are officially into the 4th quarter of the year, which means it is once again time to announce the quarterly merch for our patrons over on Patreon. In case you are unaware, each quarter of the year, Jay and I try to come up with a fun and clever piece of popcorn culture themed merchandise, and we are making it specifically for people who support us at the exclusive merch tier on Patreon. It works out, I think, hopefully, really well for everybody involved, because one of the hardest parts about being like a content creator on the internet is estimating about how much you need to produce
absolutely.
Yeah,
you don't want to like
merch.
overproduce something and then you just like lose money on it, even though everyone got something they really wanted.
Exactly. Like that's the thing. It's like, oh man, like, you know, they finally made that t-shirt, but if you either like underproduce it and then don't have enough to go around, or you make way too many, and then, you know, like a lot of times when people are buying merchandise, they're doing it in part to like support whoever it is that they're buying that merch from.
Right.
And so, if we don't make those estimates correctly, then obviously it can sort of like sink into it. So what we have come up with is this quarterly merch tier over on Patreon. And what we try to do is really put like a lot of creative energy into what we come up with so that you're getting something that is really special and really cool. We've done a lot of really fun stuff in the past. Like I've got, if you're watching visually, I've got like Fred the One True Cup, which was like a really beautiful like Yeti mug that had his popcorn culture like laser etched into it.
Yeah, we've also got a past one. It's also sitting on the set here. It's this lovely plush One True Host trophy, which makes me the One True plush host.
The one, yeah, absolutely, honorary plush host.
Yeah.
So we've done a lot of really cool stuff, and the vinyl record, of course, is one of the ones we've talked about a lot. But for Q4 of 2022, I'm really excited about this one. I think it's going to be really cool. Jay and I are going to be recording an exclusive one-shot D&D campaign with the SCB staff. So it's going to be like a lot of fun to kind of get like everybody into like their creative element. And I will tell you what, like the people in this office are every single person here has their own brand and wit of humor, and I am so stoked to see it come out in this particular format. So
yeah, I'm very excited to finally. This will be not only will this be like a one shot D&D thing, it'll also be the first time Ben and I have ever played D&D.
I know, which I'm also super jazzed about.
I have been very curious about playing for a very long time, and I think you've said this as well, but it's like as much as I've watched other people play it, as many questions as I've asked about other people, like how does it really work? Like, what are the rules and it's just like, no one can really give you a straight answer about exactly how it works. And my main conclusion here is that there's not really an exactly the way it works. It's just sort of, you really are just experiencing it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, I think that probably it'll be really fun, I think, to go and record that campaign, because I do think it's going to make the hundreds of questions that I have asked about how D&D works all slowly like link together, and I'll be like, oh, I'm starting to get it.
Prediction: Ben is just going to become a DM after this.
I mean, it's going to go one of two ways. I think I'm either going to like absolutely love it and be like, okay, that's it, we're starting a D&D.
That's a D&D podcast. Let's go.
That's next. Or it will be like I'll be so far in over my head, and everybody's going to be looking at me, and I'm just going to be like red faced and scared and worried and just shivering in my skin. So who knows? There's a million different directions it could go.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Tune in next year for Ducks and Dragons. It's going to be fun.
That is an amazing name, and I love it so much. TM, I call dibs on it. Nobody else take it. Officially looking for artwork. No, so to go with the rest of the digital campaign, which will just be a digital perk, which will come with the exclusive merch tier, will also be a dice set, which will be popcorn culture themed. So as you're listening to the episode, you can sort of have like a physical element of the show itself.
Yes.
So I'm really excited about that, because one of the things I feel like I've just been drawn to, and you as well, I know, since we were like high school students, is just dice.
Oh, absolutely. I think in high school, I remember like ordering dice once upon a time. I had like a really like a fun set of just like green dice. I had like a D20, I think. And like I did not play Dungeons and Dragons or know anything about it at all. We didn't even play like a lot of tabletop games. It was just like dice are just like something I have been attracted to.
There's something like pleasing about
really
them.
Is.
Yeah, it's like I remember learning in math class about like the golden ratio, and like our teacher gave us all these like examples of like a Kit Kat bar like follows the golden ratio. So it's like it is like aesthetically pleasing because like it is actually somewhat like designed to be so. Like the shape of the Kit Kat is on the basis of like math. I think credit cards are also like a similar thing where it's like they follow the same like proportional, whatever it is. I feel like dice must have some type of like explainable reason why they are like there's just something about them. It's like I want
that are
to
better than regular cubes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like even like when we've gone to like cons and stuff like that in the past, you like walk by all the D&D booths, and it's like I want to go and look at every single booth that is selling dice, and just like I want to touch them, I want to hold them, I want to like just
Yeah, it's so fun. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's so fun about it. It's like, because I think we did that. We were at RTX. Like their floor was full of all sorts of like D&D things, and there'd just be booths or just like walls of dice. And just like, oh man, these are just so cool. And it'd be like, I feel like I would hold them and be like, should we buy them? And it'd be like, but to what end? And it'd be like, because then we'll have them. I don't know. Look. What are you gonna use them for? I don't know.
I know.
Don't matter.
Even as I've been like researching for this piece of merch and like who will have like make them for us and all the rest, like I have gone down the absolute rabbit hole of like the coolest dice that exist out there. And like as I'm scrolling, I'm like, oh, I would get those. And same thing, it's just like a picture that's like showing up, like in the corner of like the Google search, and it's just like, hey, get these metallic holographic blah blah blahs, and I'm like, yeah, need them for sure. So anyway, I'm so excited. I hope I love playing our one shot, because then it will finally give me like an earnest reason to just like collect these things,
just to collect dice
and have them. But my collection will also begin with our very own Popcorn Culture dice. If you would like to get in on this particular piece of quarterly merch, you can do so by signing up over at patreon.com/popcornculture. It is the $25 exclusive merch tier, and if you sign up anytime between now and December 31st, you will be in on this particular episode and this exclusive episode where Jay and I will be playing the game and a set of Popcorn Culture themed dice.
Yes. So make sure you go sign up, get yourself some dice. They're going to be cool. It occurs to me, Ben, that we have now made playing cards, a coin, and dice. So we're really just getting everyone. We just got a lot of gambling paraphernalia going around.
Maybe what we're really doing, this is not true for what it's worth, but like maybe what we're really doing is like slowly building a board game, and it's like one piece at a time.
Yeah,
it's like eventually it will be like, well, like the piece that we'll just be like, hey, the board is this month's quarterly merch option.
Yeah, welcome to our board game, One Night in Vegas. It's going to be great.
Ooh.
Q1 next year, we're going to have a roulette wheel. What? You know how when you were a kid, you played with roulette wheels? No. Dude, actually, I haven't thought about the dice in high school for a long time, but can I tell you about my luckiest dice roll?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Please do. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I remember I used to have this set of just like translucent green dice, and I
remember them.
Yeah, they were like, I would like have them in my backpack. I don't know. I thought I was like, yeah, this would be like a cool thing. I'll have like this little token with me at all times or whatever. And once upon a time, my U.S. history teacher would do this thing called like in-class writes, where like you would get into class, and he would present you with a writing prompt like at the beginning of class, and you had to turn in a paper by the end of class.
Okay.
Really, the worst days. Everyone hated them.
Yeah, that's fair.
But at the very least, he would give you a list of the potential topics it could be. So it was a very tricky way to make like, you're going to have to write a paper on one of these 6 topics tomorrow. So study all 6 things and you'll be fine or whatever.
Right.
I remember on one particular occasion, I don't know, I think I had to go to like the orthodontist or something. So I missed the in-class write and had to like make it up after school.
Okay.
Right. So, or make it like the next day. So the way... in a way, though, I thought like, ooh, this will give me like a little sneaky advantage because I can ask my classmates which prompt they got yesterday,
right?
And then I'll just study that one. No big deal. And so that's exactly what I did. I remember that there were 6 prompts, and they got the number 4. And like the way he determined it was he literally stuck his head out the classroom and found someone walking in the hall, was like, hey, give me a number 1 through 6. And they said 4, and he was like, all right, this is the one you're doing.
Wow.
Right there. So I remember I was like, oh, I'm just going to study this one all day. So I got there and I was all ready to do it. And I was ready to do my little in-class write after school. And he hands me the prompts and he's like, all right, hold on. I got to go give you a random number. It's not fair. You might have been able to find out from your classmates which ones it was.
Oh,
and I was like, oh my gosh, that is like, dude, you're going to give me a different assignment from everyone?
Yikes.
Like that was good. But as it were, Ben happened to have my dice in hand at the exact moment. And I was like, oh, I got a better way. And I rolled it and it landed on 4. And he was like, good enough for me.
No way.
Yep. And I was like, whoa, that was lucky.
Holy cow. I mean, like 1 in 6 shot, but
1
still.
in 6,
like,
yeah. But I was like, whew, really dodged a bullet there. That was amazing.
Gee, okay. That is the luckiest
that was
roll.
a pretty good one.
That's a pretty good roll. Oh, man. Yeah, it amazes me like the situations under this, like because you talked about having like a token that you carried with you, and like it occurs to me that like this is something that I have had like a gravitational pull towards just my whole life.
Yeah,
like the idea of like having something on you that is just like it's like just a cool keepsake that you could potentially show somebody and they will also think it's cool.
Yeah.
I even remember in the Hunger Games, like the idea that like Katniss was able to like bring a pin in with her. I was like, that's awesome.
That's cool.
Like there's nothing I want more than like a meaningful that.
Right.
You know, like maybe it even falls into the same column of like satisfaction in my brain as like the
tattoo.
The tattoo.
Yeah.
It's like what I want more than anything is something that like means that much to me, that it's just like that it's like not only is it awesome looking because it's a Mockingjay pin, but it's got deep significance.
Right.
You know, it's like it means
something, and people recognize me for it.
Yeah, exactly.
It is associated with me.
Right. So like the dice, you're absolutely right. I feel like this was like your big one for a while. When I was in high school for a long time, I had belt buckles.
Oh yes,
I got,
you did. You had like belt buckles one year, then you had like hoodies one year.
Yeah. I was so like I feel like every year I sort of had like a shake up in like my branding.
Right.
It was like what's going to be like my
the thing that makes me stand out right now.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like in your mind you like really build this thing up like everyone's really going to notice this and this was going to set me apart. And it's like did people? I mean, I feel like the belt buckles are pretty.
The belt buckles was definitely like one of those because I had like, I had one that was like a dry erase board, and I think people thought that was just like absolute because it had like a little marker.
Yeah,
that, like,
you like
snap
write
into
on it. Yeah.
I had like the scrolling like LED.
You're like a marquee.
Like a marquee. So you're like, hey, how's it going? I had Batman. I had one that was like a spinner. I feel like I wore that one the most. The one that was like a spinner because I would. It was like a fidget toy before fidget toys had been invented.
Right.
So like I would just like literally like
just spin it.
Yeah. So that was super fun. I hope Mom still has these somewhere. Surely she.
I remember. Yeah, they would all sit in like this big basket in your room.
I know. Yeah.
But it's like it's such a thing because like you don't really need belt buckles as a high schooler for anything. So
not really. Yeah. I mean, they were definitely fun. I would always find this to be the case. It would be like I would like crack the seal. People would like get to know me for it, and then it was like, well, now I just gotta like I don't want to let anybody down.
Yeah.
People would ask me though.
Yeah.
Like I even had teachers that like walk in and they're like, which one you wearing today?
Bam.
That made me feel special.
I feel like everyone is kind of doing this in their own like secret, in like their own internal way.
Yeah.
In some way. Like our friend Mike would just never wear pants, all shorts all the time. All shorts all the time. Sorry. He wore pants.
Yeah. They were just not like long tubes across all of your legs. Denim tubes.
Yeah. But Mike just wore shorts all year round, no problem. I remember, and it was just like, it's not cold outside. What's the big deal?
Right.
Yeah. Like this is, I'm just wearing shorts.
It was so funny too because he was one of the few students at our high school that like lived close enough to the school itself that he could walk there.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're talking like maybe 0.2 of a mile. Like it was not far, but like it was even one of those things where it's like not only did he wear shorts, but he also like walked to school.
Yeah.
It was like it is cold though.
Yeah.
Like you must be cold, but it was such a weird badge of pride.
Yeah.
I think that it was like no, I'm good.
I'm the shorts guy, man. I don't wear pants.
Yeah. So that was always really funny. I'd be curious to know like what other people's version of this thing is.
Yeah.
Like what is the thing that like you sort of like you kind of like started one day, got like enough like recognition for it that like it like sort of like compounded into like being woven into the fabric of like who you are as a person.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like sneakers are probably one of my recent ones
for sure.
For me as I've gotten older as an adult. This was not something that like I really like bit hard into, but I do remember as an elementary school student, I did have a token that I carried with me.
What was it?
So we used to have a store in Roanoke, Virginia called CMT. It was a really like odd and cool and fun place because like it was like a store that was there for like sporting goods.
Yeah, sporting goods store.
Yeah, but like not only did they had like a rock climbing wall and they sold like winter jackets and they did like ski rentals and stuff like that, but then they would also like make like jerseys and stuff like that for teams that like might need them for like rec league soccer or whatever, like a local kickball team. But in addition to that, they also did like trophies. So like in one area of the store, you could like walk through and they would have like all the various like, at the end of like your soccer season or whatever, like everybody would get like the little trophy with like the golden soccer figurine on top. And it's like, this is like where the coaches, I guess, would go to like figure out like which one they were going to do for that season. And I don't know, whatever. But it was interesting to me that like I was at the place that sold those things.
Yeah.
Because I do always remember as a child being very excited on trophy day.
Oh, I mean, you get this brand new shiny thing. It's basically like getting treasure.
It's basically like getting treasure.
Yeah.
And that is pretty much what I discovered while I was at CMT on this particular occasion. Because we were there, just buying, I don't know, like a winter jacket or something. And I remember walking through the trophy area and like my eyes were just like as big as, you could imagine.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute. Wait, I've been playing 10 to 12 soccer games a season to get one of these, and you can just come buy the treasure?
Right, exactly. These are just available for purchase at any time.
Mom, I would like this trophy, please.
Well, so pretty much that's what happened. There was this like golden key, and it's the type of thing that like maybe like you know how like sometimes like people are awarded like the key to the city as like a mark of like recognition or something like that. I imagine that this was a very similar type of thing, except I mean it was maybe like 5 inches long, and it didn't open anything obviously, but it was just a bright gold key, and I think it cost like $4.
Right.
And I was like, Mom, can I get this? And she was like, yeah, that's fine. And I was like,
no, what?
And I remember I called it the key to the Odyssey.
What is the Odyssey?
I have absolutely no. I don't know.
I never knew this.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I called it the key to the Odyssey, and so I remember I would keep it in my backpack at all times,
just in case.
Just in case I needed the key to the Odyssey.
You're gonna find the chest.
As a kid, I just really thought that I was. It was way too baked into me that you could be the chosen one, and I was like, I just want to be ready, like. Just in case. Oh man, I don't think I've said that out loud in like 28 years or something.
Wow. Key to the Odyssey.
The key to the Odyssey. But I remember I feel like
I know what the name of the episode is.
I know. So I would go and I had it in like the bottom zipper pouch of my backpack, and I remember like it'd be like a recess, and I would like go and I would like put it in my pocket, and like I'd be out at recess, and I would like just be like check it out.
Y'all don't even know.
Behold,
I got like a really special object here. Yeah, that was that front zipper pouch on your backpack. It was like Trinket Central.
It's where you kept the cool stuff.
All the cool stuff.
Your token.
Oh my god, oh, man! Now I'm thinking I also had a zipper pouch on my backpack that had all the trinkets.
Yeah, what was in yours?
Oh man, I remember like once upon a time, Dad came back from one of these like trips. Clearly, so often as an adult, I realized that like when Mom and Dad would come back from trips with souvenirs, it was like, oh yeah, we gotta get the boys something.
Airport gift shop.
There was there would always be such random things, like I think I had some they had some little thing that like it was it was a stone, and it was flat on one side and rounded on the other, and you could spin it one direction, but if you tried to spin it the other way, it would just go like and like wobble and not do it.
I remember that.
Oh my gosh, I would just blow people's minds with that at school. Be like, watch this. Other way? No way.
I was like, what? But
why? I had some little popper thing. Once upon a time, I have no idea where this came from. I had this me and one of my friends just found this ring once upon a time. And the ring.
The ring.
It was made of this black metal, and then it was set in it was this tiny little crystal ball. Do you remember this?
I do.
Yes, I haven't thought about this ring in forever. I think it must have lived in my backpack for 8 years, and I was just I was so certain I was gonna lose it someday, and I obviously I eventually did, but every year it was a real victory that I had managed to hold on to the ring for another year.
The smokestone of the Odyssey.
They went together,
obviously.
Oh man,
that is so funny. I do remember these objects now. They're all coming
screaming back,
barreling back. Man, it's I don't know if it tears me in half a little bit, because I'm excited to remember them, and I'm also I can't believe these have been such untouched memories for so long.
I know. Yeah, I haven't thought about that ring in a long time. I wonder what happened to it. Yeah.
Maybe it's just out there.
It's just out there,
waiting
man.
on its new master.
Waiting on its new master. I know.
Oh man, the funny thing is like, what if it was just like literally, like a dime store? No, like you put the quarter in the machine, and like, spit it out or whatever.
Very well could have been.
But it's like somehow, some way, this thing ended up having like unexpected meaning to someone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what's so funny about it. It's like that one in particular. Like, it wasn't made of plastic. It wasn't made of metal, and it did have like a I don't know, a spherical piece of glass in it.
Right.
Like. I could see it just being like some kid, like something you give to like a kid for like, oh yeah, this is like an early piece of jewelry you could wear.
Sure.
Or who knows, maybe it was some family keepsake that one of the teachers lost at school. And
oh my gosh, can you imagine?
Can't imagine.
Yeah.
Who's to say? I'll never know. I'll never find it again. That'd be wild. If I come across it in some box of junk in my house one day, you guys are gonna hear about it, but I doubt it.
Oh man, it'd be amazing. We should put it on the set. If so. Yeah.
Boy, yeah. Along with the key to the Odyssey.
the key. Oh, I wonder if it's somewhere. I want to go home now to my childhood bedroom and just like dig through the closet and see what's in there.
I bet it's there. I bet the key exists.
I hope so.
And if not, I bet you could replace it for about $4. Unlike the ring.
Oh my gosh, that's the real exclusive
That's
merch. Q1 2023. Everybody gets their own key to the Odyssey. It's just a golden key. Who would be upset?
I don't hate it.
Who would be upset?
I don't hate it.
Oh man!
But after the roulette wheel,
of course, naturally, yeah. To go with the rest of our game.
Exactly.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of The Pop. This has been a fun one, I think, personally. If you have any feedback for us about what your token in your early years, or even now, like, is there something that you carry on your person that is not practical in any way, but you have it like for the sake of like the potential moment that it's gonna be like flourish.
Yeah.
Here is my object.
Yeah.
Oh man, I would absolutely love it. Be sure to send all of your thoughts or opinions or anything you have to say to popcornculturepod@gmail.com. Otherwise, if you would like to get in on that quarterly merch, again, we're going to be having a popcorn culture themed dice set that will go alongside a exclusive digital episode of Jay and I playing our first ever one-shot D&D session, which I think is just going to be a hootin' and hollering good time.
Oh yeah.
That is the $25 tier over at Patreon. It's patreon.com/popcornculture. Be sure to go and check that out. Otherwise, until next time,
Pop.